Hello and welcome to the Power Grid International interview studio at Distributech International, brought to you by ABB. I am Distributech and Power Grid Editor-in-Chief John Engel, joined by John Stahlbusch, the Public Charging Sales and Strategy Head for ABB e-Mobility. Welcome, John. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So when we're thinking about how utilities engage with NEVI and CFI and the partnerships that all come together with that, where should we start? And what do you think are some of the key points that we should call out?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it really goes back to if you're a CPO and you're a new entrant into this space and you're saying, hey, I want to, and by the way, CPO means charge point operator. If you're getting into space and you're saying, hey, I want to be a part of charging infrastructure, and NEVI has, as a result of this grant funding and these opportunities, made it to where it's now an economically feasible solution that I can put out of the market, create a business, and whether it's a big giant company or a smaller one. Really, whenever it comes to coordinating with utility, it's kind of the same. There is a need to engage with them early, and I think that is the number one key point. So if there is a key that says, hey, this is the only thing I walk away from, you want to engage with your utility as soon as you can with prepared materials. You want things like single line drawings. You want to have what your power capacity need is going to be, and generally there is a standard requirement from NEVI that states, hey, we have 150 kW per port. We need at least those 4 ports. So you can expect that on a site, you're going to have a standard minimum threshold for power capacity. And then how do you want to, is there enough power on that site? If there's not, what things can we do to overcome that? Whether it's battery solutions or other things of that nature. And so engaging with the utility first and foremost, I think is going to be really important.
Utilities don't like ambiguity. I think that's the takeaway. Boil it down to make it clear, make it as succinct as possible. Yeah,
the utility needs to know. I mean, and frankly, utilities in some cases can actually apply for NEVI themselves. So they have the ability, but in a lot of cases they won't, because they have enough folks that are going to apply with them or request their support to go into these. And frankly, for utility, it may not be worth the administration work, because it is a pretty big lift when it comes to paperwork. For the CPOs and any of these grant applicants. Even after the award period, there's actually a substantial amount of auditing that's going to be done, and continued upkeep of these sites. So where they may not need to, they can definitely support the market and say, hey, we can help you out with that power capacity. But the earlier they know exactly what you need, what you're thinking, that's going to be a big help.
Let's talk about navigating public projects as well. What are some of the nuances there, and how does ABB step in and kind of help usher that through?
So when it comes to public projects, the first thing we want to say is, we want to see, do you have a portfolio of sites that you're looking at that you're saying, hey, we want to go nationwide, or we have this regional play, and what is really the model that's going to be driving your ability to do this? What is the ROIs that you're looking at that say, hey, we're looking at this and we're saying, from an economic standpoint, it is feasible for us to go into this space. We think we can make a profit if these certain factors are hit. And so generally, a lot of things that are going to impact that is going to be, hey, what is the utility rate? What is the premium that we're going to charge for the electrons that we're selling really to the market thereafter? So you have a retail price that the CPO may be paying, and then they have to charge a premium in order to be able to start to recover some of that cost of capital that they put up front. So you have these different factors that might impact that. And then you have other things, again, tied to the utility is, hey, is there going to be demand charges that are going to impact, that monthly cost, that operating cost, to be able to have these stations up and running and supporting the public.
I use each of these interviews as a rolling focus group of the event too. So here's your curveball. Take me through the conversations you're having here at Distributech International 2024. Where are you spotting creativity and innovation as it relates to this topic, and what are you excited about taking back to the real world?
I love it. Great question. So the kind of conversations I'm having here at this event, so it's a bit of a mixed bag. So you actually have the utilities here, and you have the folks who are maybe aspiring to be those CPOs. And where I see the most interesting thing that I think is going to help support EV adoption is whenever the utility and the CPO work together with things like mitigating demand charges. So there are utilities that are out there that are working on saying, hey, we understand that a big part of your ROI calculations is going to be, how much of a demand charge am I going to incur? Because we're talking about what can be thousands or tens of thousands of dollars a month, depending on what the site loads. And so if they're saying, hey, specific for electric vehicle infrastructure, we're going to reduce that charge for this so that models maintains its ability to put a return out, even with these high KW requirements for the site. And I think that when you start to look at the economic partnerships, this is where the market needs to be. In order for there to be wider EV adoption, there needs to be substantial infrastructure that really does replace the gas pump experience, right? We're not trying to replace the gas pump, but we want that experience to be replicated as much as we can. That happens in a bunch of different ways, but the first and foremost part of it's going to say, hey, you know, we love green energy, we're all about it, but if it doesn't economically make sense, we're not going to be able to have a self-sustaining business model, which I think is going to be critical for this market. And I think the market is really starting to see that. We're saying, hey, you know, there's a bunch of funding out there, but frankly, we do need a self-sustaining model, and really it should be cherry on top whenever we're able to get these grants. So we want to build something that is self-sustaining up front, and I think what I'm seeing, the best thing is when I see these utilities engaging with that CPO early and saying, hey, here is something that we can do to help you with these rates so that it is feasible.
John Stahlbusch, ABB E-Mobility. Thanks for joining me in the interview studio.
Well, thank you for having me.